Imagine walking into a coin shop or going through your spare change and stumbling upon a coin that could be worth thousands of dollars. It sounds like a dream, right? Well, that dream might just come true if you happen to find the 1964 super rare 5-cent silver Thomas Jefferson nickel. This rare coin could be sitting right under your nose, and in today's video, we're going to dive deep into its history, how to identify it, and why it's so valuable. Stick with me until the end, because you won't want to miss how much these coins have sold for in auctions. Let's take a trip back in time to 1964. The United States was going through a period of change. The country had just come out of a decade marked by the civil rights movement, the space race, and significant political upheaval. In 1964, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, and among them was the Thomas Jefferson nickel. This nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, and its obverse featured a profile of President Thomas Jefferson. The reverse displayed Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. This was the standard design for nickels for many years. However, something special happened with a small number of these 1964 Jefferson nickels. They were made from a silver alloy, not the typical copper-nickel mix. Why did this happen? Well, in 1964, there was a shortage of copper due to the increasing demand for it in other industries, particularly for use in the military and manufacturing. To make up for this shortage, the U.S. Mint switched to a silver-copper blend for a short period, but only a small number of these coins were produced before they switched back to the standard alloy. The rarity of these silver versions of the 1964 Jefferson nickel is what makes them so valuable to collectors today. So, how can you tell if you have a 1964 silver Jefferson nickel in your collection or spare change? There are a few key things to look out for. Weight. A standard 1964 Jefferson nickel weighs around 5 grams, but the silver version weighs a little more, about 5.1 grams. That extra weight is a good indicator that the coin might be silver. Material. The 1964 silver Jefferson nickel is made of 35% silver and 65% copper. If you have a magnet handy, you can also test it. A regular nickel will not be attracted to a magnet, but the silver version might show a slight magnetic attraction. Appearance. The silver version of this nickel will have a slightly different color compared to the typical copper-nickel mix. It will appear a little more shiny or grayish in color, especially if it's in uncirculated condition. Mint mark. Pay close attention to the mint mark on the coin. Most 1964 nickels were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, so they won't have a mint mark. However, some rare silver nickels were produced at the Denver and San Francisco mints, and these will have a D or S mint mark. Weight, 5.1 grams diameter, 21.2 mm material, 35% silver, 65% copper. Mint marks. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Errors. Some 1964 silver Jefferson nickels have unique errors that can increase their value, such as double die varieties or misstrikes. Keep an eye out for those. The 1964 silver Jefferson nickel is rare because only a small number were made. Most of these coins were struck with the regular copper-nickel alloy, but a few were struck with silver by mistake or necessity. This small number makes them highly sought after by collectors, especially those who specialize in silver coins. The value of these coins is driven by their rarity. As time goes on, these coins become harder to find, making them even more valuable. If you come across one in your change, it could be worth far more than its face value of 5 cents, current market value in different conditions. So, how much is a 1964 silver Jefferson nickel worth today? The value depends on its condition. Here's a general idea: worn or circulated condition. In worn condition, where the coin shows signs of age and handling, a 1964 silver Jefferson nickel can be worth anywhere from $3 to $5. Uncirculated condition. If the coin is in mint or uncirculated condition, it can fetch between $15 and $50. Certified or graded coins. For coins that have been professionally graded and certified, their value can be much higher. A coin in near-perfect condition can sell for $100 or more at auction. Let's look at some real examples of how much these coins have sold for in recent auctions. In 2020, A 1964 silver Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition sold for $120 at a coin auction. A rare 1964 silver Jefferson nickel with a double die error fetched over $200 in a 2022 auction. Some coins with significant historical provenance have even gone for $500 or more, depending on the demand and rarity. These prices show just how valuable this rare coin can be. So, can you get rich by finding a 1964 silver Jefferson nickel? While not everyone will find one, if you're lucky enough to come across this rare coin, it could be worth a small fortune. Just remember to check your change carefully, look for those key identifying features, and consider getting the coin graded if it's in good condition. If you want to stay up to date with more rare coin information, tips on coin collecting, and insights into valuable pennies and nickels, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check your change, keep an eye out for rare coins, and who knows, you might just find a hidden treasure. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. Welcome, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Have you ever wondered if the change in your pocket could be worth more than its face value? Imagine finding a coin that has stood the test of time, a coin with a rich history, and possibly, a coin that could put some extra money in your pocket. Well, today we're diving into one such coin, the 1965 St. Thomas Jefferson nickel. Whether you've been collecting for years or are just starting, this coin might surprise you. Let's uncover why the 1960 Jefferson nickel is so important, how to spot the real deal, and how much it could be worth. Stay with me because this could change the way you look at your change forever. Let's start with a little history. The 1965 St. Thomas Jefferson nickel is part of a long-standing tradition in American coinage. The Jefferson nickel was first issued in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The design was meant to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who is best known for his role in the Louisiana Purchase and the founding of the University of Virginia. The obverse of the Jefferson nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by artist Felix Schlag. This iconic image was struck on the coin for decades. On the reverse, you'll find an image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, which represents the spirit of American architecture and history. But why was the 1960 version so significant? Well, this particular year marked the beginning of a shift in minting practices. While there were no drastic changes in design, the minting process and the types of errors that could occur made the 1960 Jefferson nickel a coin to look out for. How to identify a genuine 1960 Jefferson nickel. Now, let's talk about how you can identify a genuine 1965 cent Jefferson nickel. First, it's important to know the basic features of the coin. The nickel is made of a copper-nickel alloy and weighs 5 grams. The diameter is 21.2 millimeters, which is typical for a nickel. To tell if the coin is authentic, check the obverse for a clear and detailed portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His features should be sharp and distinct, with no blurriness. The reverse side should clearly depict Monticello with fine detail in the structure. You'll also want to examine the coin for any unusual wear or damage. Remember, the older the coin, the more wear it may show, but a genuine 1960 nickel will still retain some of its original details if it's in decent condition. Let's go over some key details that can help you further identify a valuable 1960 Jefferson nickel. Material. As mentioned, the coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy. The exact composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel. This gives it a distinct silvery look compared to other coins made of different metals. Weight. The coin weighs 5 grams, which is consistent for all nickels produced during this period. Mint marks. The mint mark on a 1960 nickel is found on the reverse side, just below Monticello. You may find a mint mark indicating where the coin was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all, which indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Errors. One of the more interesting aspects of the 1960 Jefferson nickel is the possibility of errors. Some of these coins were struck with double dies, which can make them valuable to collectors. A double die error on the coin's design could make the coin worth much more than its standard value. So, what makes the 1965 cent Jefferson nickel valuable? In most cases, nickels from this era aren't worth much more than their face value, but a few factors can significantly increase their worth. First, the presence of errors, like a doubled die or a misaligned strike, can greatly increase the coin's value. Additionally, the condition of the coin plays a big role. Uncirculated coins, meaning coins that show little to no wear, are always worth more than those that have been circulated heavily. Now, let's talk about the market value. The price of a 1960 Jefferson nickel can vary depending on its condition and whether it has any errors, worn or circulated coins. If you have a coin that's been in circulation for many years, it will likely be worth just its face value of 5 cents. However, if the coin is in decent condition and well preserved, it could fetch anywhere from 10 to 50 cents at most. Uncirculated coins. A 1960 Jefferson nickel that has never been used in circulation could be worth anywhere from $1 to $5, depending on the specific mint mark and condition. Certified coins. If you have a 1960 Jefferson nickel that's been graded and certified by a professional grading service, the value could increase even further, especially if it has a rare error or is in exceptionally high grade. To give you a real-world idea, here are some examples of how much this coin has sold for at auctions. A 1960 Jefferson nickel with a double die error was recently sold for around $150 to $200. A well-preserved 1960 uncirculated coin can sell for around $10 to $25, depending on the quality and mint mark. Some 1960 nickels with rare errors have been known to fetch prices in the hundreds of dollars at auction, especially if they have been graded highly. In conclusion, the 1965 St. Thomas Jefferson nickel is a coin with a fascinating history and plenty of potential for collectors. While most of these coins are not worth more than their face value, those with special features, like rare mint errors or excellent condition, could be worth much more. If you happen to stumble across one in your pocket change, it might just be your lucky day. So, check your change, take a closer look at your coins, and you could find something valuable. Who knows? You might be holding on to a rare coin that could make you some extra cash. If you enjoyed learning about the 1960 Jefferson nickel and want to stay updated on more rare and valuable coins, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We're always bringing you the latest insights and tips for coin collectors of all levels. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting. Have you ever wondered if your spare change could be worth more than just a few cents? Well, the 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel might be hiding in your pocket or jar, and it could be worth a small fortune. This seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin holds some unique characteristics that make it special, and in today's video, we're going to dive deep into what makes this coin rare, valuable, and something you might want to check for in your own collection. The 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel is part of a series of coins that were first issued in 1938, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. Jefferson, who served as the third President of the United States, is one of the nation's most important historical figures. The nickel's reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia, which has become a symbol of his legacy. By the time 1961 rolled around, the U.S. had already seen years of production for this coin. However, this year had a specific historical significance. The 1961 nickel was part of the ongoing minting series, but its rarity and value come from certain details that were present during its production, making it stand out in the world of coin collectors. You might be asking, how can I be sure I have a genuine 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel? Well, the answer lies in the details. Let's break it down. Obverse. On the front of the coin, you'll see Thomas Jefferson's portrait, facing to the left. The inscription, Liberty, and the date, 1961, are also present. You should see clear details of Jefferson's face, hair, and collar. If they appear worn out or faint, the coin might have been in circulation for a while. Reverse. The reverse shows an image of Monticello, Jefferson's home. The word Monticello is inscribed along with E pluribus unum and 5 cents. The Monticello building should be clearly visible, with its distinct columns and overall structure. Mint mark. Look closely on the obverse, below Jefferson's portrait. If there's a D or S, that tells you which mint produced the coin. A D means it was minted in Denver, while an S indicates San Francisco. Without a mint mark, the coin was minted in Philadelphia, now that you know how to identify it, let's go over some of the key details of the 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel. Weight: this coin weighs 5 grams, which is standard for most nickels. Diameter: the coin measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. Material: the 1961 nickel is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance. Mint marks: as mentioned, the mint mark is an important detail for identifying the coin's origin, but there's more. Sometimes, coins from certain years can have minting errors, which make them even rarer and more valuable. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So, why is the 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel worth more than its face value? There are several factors that contribute to its rarity and value. Rarity of minting errors: like many coins, the 1961 nickel is sometimes found with minting errors, which can make it especially valuable to collectors. These errors can include double strikes, misaligned dies, or even off-center coins. The more unusual the error, the higher the value. Condition: coins that are well preserved are always worth more. If you happen to find a 1961 nickel that has barely circulated and still shows sharp details, it could fetch a nice price from collectors. Coins in mint state are often graded by professional services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Collector demand: the market for rare coins is always growing, especially for coins like the 1961 Jefferson nickel, which hold both historical and numismatic significance. If you have one in good condition or with an error, it may be in high demand. Let's take a look at how much the 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel can be worth in different conditions: worn or circulated. If the coin has been in circulation for years, it will likely have some wear and tear. A well-worn 1961 nickel could still be worth more than face value, perhaps around 10 to 25 cents. Uncirculated: if you find a 1961 nickel in uncirculated condition, you're looking at a value of $1 to $5 or more. These coins have been preserved in excellent condition, and collectors are always on the lookout for high-quality examples. Certified coins: when a coin is graded by a professional grading service, its value can significantly increase. A certified 1961 nickel in mint state could be worth $10 or more, depending on its quality and whether it has a minting error. In recent years, the 1961 Jefferson nickel has been sold at auction for impressive prices, especially for those that are in exceptional condition or have rare minting errors. For example, a certified 1961 Jefferson nickel in mint state sold for around $20 at an auction. A coin with a rare double die error fetched over $200 in a collector's auction. These examples show that even a coin that seems ordinary can be worth quite a bit, depending on its condition and unique characteristics. So, there you have it. The 1961 Thomas Jefferson nickel could be hiding in your change, and it might just be worth more than you think. Whether it's a well-preserved coin, one with a rare minting error, or simply one that's still in circulation, there's always a chance you could stumble upon a hidden treasure. Take a moment to check your spare change, and who knows, you could be holding onto a valuable piece of history. A coin that might seem ordinary, but has the potential to be a hidden treasure. The 1962 5-cent Thomas Jefferson nickel could be that very coin, quietly sitting in your change, waiting to be discovered. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating history and value of this coin. If you're a coin collector, or even just someone curious about the money you handle every day, keep watching. You might have a small fortune in your pocket right now. The 1962 5-cent Thomas Jefferson nickel is part of a long-standing tradition of American coinage. The nickel itself was first introduced in 1866, and over the years, it has gone through several design changes. The 1962 version, however, remains one of the most widely circulated coins in American history. This coin was struck in honor of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who played a key role in the founding of the nation. His likeness appears on the obverse of the coin, designed by the famed artist Felix Schlag. The reverse of the coin features Jefferson's home, Monticello, which symbolizes the president's contributions to the country, particularly his work on the Declaration of Independence and his vision for a democratic society. The 1962 Jefferson nickel was produced during an interesting time in U.S. history, post-World War II, when the country was entering a period of prosperity and change. It was also a time when coin collectors began paying closer attention to the coin circulating in their pockets, seeking rarities and errors that might make them more valuable. When you're searching for a genuine 1962 Thomas Jefferson nickel, there are a few key features to look for to make sure you're holding the real thing. Obverse. The front of the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, facing to the left. His name, Thomas Jefferson, and the year, 1962, are engraved above the image. Reverse. On the back, you'll see an image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, along with the words Monticello and E pluribus unum. Beneath the building, you will also find the coin's denomination, 5 cents, and the mint mark, which is an important feature. A genuine coin should have sharp details and clear text. Over time, wear and tear might cause some fading, but counterfeit coins often lack the fine detailing found in authentic ones. To understand the value of the 1962 Jefferson nickel, let's go over some essential details that will help you identify it. Weight. This coin weighs 5 grams. Material. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives it its signature silver-like appearance. Mint marks. The mint mark is located on the reverse side of the coin, right above the word Monticello. A D indicates it was minted in Denver, while a P indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Errors. Like many coins, the 1962 Jefferson nickel had a few minor minting errors. Some examples include misaligned dies or double strikes. These rare errors can make the coin even more valuable to collectors. So, why is the 1962 Jefferson nickel valuable? The truth is, most of these coins are common and don't fetch much more than their face value. However, some factors can make certain examples of this coin worth more. One key reason for its value is the condition. A 1962 nickel in excellent, uncirculated condition is far more valuable than a worn and circulated one. Over the years, people have held on to specific nickels in pristine condition, making them rare and more desirable to collectors. Additionally, coins with mint errors, such as double strikes or off-center strikes, are especially prized. The value of a 1962 Jefferson nickel varies greatly depending on its condition. Here's an overview. In everyday use, these coins don't typically hold much value. A worn 1962 nickel is usually worth around 5 to 10 cents, just its face value or slightly more due to its age. If your 1962 nickel shows moderate wear, it could be worth around 20 to 50 cents, depending on the wear and mint mark. Coins that have been preserved and never used in circulation can be worth much more. A well-preserved, uncirculated 1962 Jefferson nickel could be valued at $1 to $5 or more. Coins that have been professionally graded and certified as mint state can command much higher prices. A certified, error-free 1962 nickel in perfect condition could fetch $10 or more, while one with an error might be worth significantly more, sometimes hundreds of dollars, depending on the rarity of the mistake. For those who think this is just a coin that's worth a few cents, consider this: a rare, uncirculated 1962 Jefferson nickel was sold at auction for $50, and a certified, error-free version went for even more, up to $100. Coins with major minting errors can see even higher prices, especially if there are only a few known examples in circulation. In fact, some auction houses have reported selling rare 1962 nickels for more than $500 due to unique mistakes made during the minting process. These coins are highly sought after by collectors who specialize in rare U.S. nickels. As you can see, while most 1962 5-cent Thomas Jefferson nickels are not worth much, there's always the possibility of finding one that could be worth a lot more. Whether it's an uncirculated specimen or a rare mint error, you could stumble upon a small treasure hiding in your change. If you're lucky enough to find one of these coins in excellent condition, or if you're holding on to a rare example with a minting error, you might be sitting on a valuable piece of U.S. history. Coin collecting can be a rewarding hobby, and sometimes, just checking your change could lead to a surprise windfall. Well, if you have a 1963 5-cent Thomas Jefferson nickel, you could be holding on to a hidden treasure. In today's video, we will explore this coin in detail, and by the end, you might just want to start checking your change more carefully. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or just starting to get interested in rare coins, the 1963 Jefferson nickel offers a fascinating glimpse into American history and coinage. This coin may not be the rarest in the world, but it still holds valuable lessons for collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. The 1963 Jefferson nickel, which features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, has its roots deep in American history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, and it has been an iconic symbol of American currency ever since. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, and it was created to honor the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, who was a key figure in the founding of our nation. Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence and the third President of the United States, is widely admired for his contributions to American democracy and governance. In 1938, the U.S. Mint decided to replace the Buffalo nickel with a new design that would feature Jefferson on the obverse, front, side, with his home, Monticello, on the reverse, back. This design has remained unchanged for most of the coin's existence, though the reverse side has been updated over the years. In 1963, this coin was minted in the same design, continuing the tradition of honoring Jefferson's legacy. But how does this particular coin differ from others? Let's take a closer look at how you can identify a genuine 1963 Jefferson nickel and what makes it valuable. When looking at a 1963 Jefferson nickel, the first thing you'll notice is the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side. This design is very recognizable and features Jefferson's profile in a classic style. The coin's edge is smooth, and the metal used is a blend of copper and nickel. It weighs about 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. To verify a genuine 1963 Jefferson nickel, you can look for certain details. The mint mark. You'll find a small mint mark beneath the word Liberty on the obverse side. This indicates where the coin was struck. D means it was minted in Denver. A P means it was minted in Philadelphia, though this was only used in certain years starting in 1980. A S indicates it was minted in San Francisco. The design. The 1963 Jefferson nickel carries the familiar design of Jefferson's profile on the obverse, with "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" written around his image. The reverse shows Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, with the words "E pluribus unum, Monticello," and 5 cents inscribed. With these details in mind, be sure to closely inspect the coin, as counterfeit coins can sometimes be difficult to spot. Here are some important facts about the 1963 Jefferson nickel. Weight, approximately 5 grams, diameter, 21.2 millimeters, material. A mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Mint marks, D, S, and P, depending on where the coin was minted. In terms of errors, the 1963 Jefferson nickel is relatively free of major minting issues. However, there are some minor varieties that collectors may find interesting, such as slightly off-center strikes or other subtle imperfections. These can affect a coin's value depending on their rarity and the level of interest among collectors. The 1963 Jefferson nickel is not one of the rarest coins in the world, but it does have a few unique qualities that make it valuable to the right collectors. While coins from this period were minted in large quantities, certain conditions can make a coin particularly valuable. One of the key factors in determining the value of the 1963 nickel is its condition. Coins in better condition will always fetch higher prices. The value of the 1963 Jefferson nickel can vary greatly depending on its condition. Worn coins. If the coin is heavily worn and has been circulated for many years, it may only be worth its face value, which is 5 cents. Circulated coins, in good condition with minimal wear. A 1963 Jefferson nickel might be worth anywhere from 10 to 25 cents. Uncirculated coins. If you come across an uncirculated 1963 nickel, it can be worth anywhere from $1 to $3, depending on its quality. Certified coins. Coins that have been professionally graded by organizations like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can be worth even more, especially if they are graded as mint state or higher. Here's an example of how much a 1963 Jefferson nickel can go for in auctions. A 1963 Jefferson nickel in mint state 65 condition, graded by PCGS, recently sold for around $40 in an auction. An uncirculated 1963 nickel, in a high-quality grade like MS67, could sell for over $100 or more, depending on demand. These examples show that while the 1963 nickel is not considered a super rare coin, collectors are willing to pay premium prices for coins in top condition. So, how can you get lucky with the 1963 Jefferson nickel? If you happen to find one in your change, especially in great condition, you could end up with a small treasure. While it's not likely to make you rich overnight, there's always the possibility of finding a rare or highly valuable version of this coin. And remember, coin collecting is not just about making money, it's about preserving a piece of history and the joy of discovery. If you're enjoying learning about valuable coins like the 1963 Jefferson nickel, be sure to check your change more carefully. You never know what hidden gems might be waiting for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on rare and valuable coins, and share this with your friends and family who might also enjoy the thrill of coin collecting. You might have a hidden treasure right in your pocket. Today, we are diving into a coin that might be sitting in your collection or even in your loose change, the 1964 5-cent Thomas Jefferson nickel. You might be thinking, what makes this nickel so special? Stick around to find out why this coin is so fascinating, how to identify it, and what it's worth today. You just might find something valuable in your coin jar. The 1964 Thomas Jefferson nickel is a key piece of U.S. coin history. Minted in the same year as the famous Kennedy half-dollar, this nickel is a tribute to one of the most important figures in American history, Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. The design on the nickel was created by artist Felix Schlag, who won a public competition to design the new nickel in 1938. It was first minted in 1938 and remained in circulation for decades, with only slight modifications throughout the years. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these nickels, but what makes the 1964 version stand out is that it marks the last year of the Jefferson nickel standard design before changes were made in later years. The 1964 coin is part of the transitional period where coins were still predominantly made from nickel and copper, before other alloys started taking their place in the years that followed. Understanding its background is key to appreciating its place in American numismatic history. When it comes to identifying a genuine 1964 Jefferson nickel, you need to look for specific characteristics that make this coin unique. First, examine the front or obverse side of the coin, which features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. His name, Thomas Jefferson, is inscribed along the top, with the year 1964 below his profile. The reverse side displays the famous Monticello, the home of Jefferson, with the words Monticello and E pluribus unum above it, and the coin's denomination, 5 cents, below. Next, ensure the coin's weight matches the standard, 5 grams. The metal composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a shiny, silvery appearance. One of the best ways to ensure your coin is genuine is to check its mint mark. The mint mark, located just to the right of Monticello on the reverse side, can either be a D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or S for San Francisco. If the coin is a 1964 with no mint mark, it was produced in Philadelphia. Be cautious of counterfeits, as fake coins sometimes surface in the marketplace. Weight, 5 grams. Material, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Diameter, 21.2 millimeters. Mint marks, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mark for Philadelphia. Edge, plain, no ridges, errors. Look for rare misprints or double strikes, which can greatly increase the coin's value. Some of the most notable errors include the double die obverse, where Jefferson's portrait appears doubled. These errors are extremely rare, but if you spot one, you could have a highly valuable find. Although the 1964 Jefferson nickel is relatively common in circulation, certain versions of the coin can be quite valuable. Coins that are in better condition, especially those that have been well preserved or uncirculated, are worth significantly more than those that have been worn down from years of handling. In particular, 1964 Jefferson nickels with errors or unique characteristics, such as the double die obverse, are rare and highly sought after by collectors. In recent years, demand for these coins has grown as collectors look to complete their Jefferson nickel sets, and coin enthusiasts recognize the historical value behind the 1964 design. The value of the 1964 Jefferson nickel varies depending on its condition. Here's a general breakdown of what you can expect, worn or circulated. If the coin has seen a lot of use and has worn edges or faded details, it may only be worth around its face value, or slightly above, perhaps 10 to 20 cents, uncirculated. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition and never used in circulation can fetch a higher price, typically between $1 and $2. Depending on how well preserved they are. Certified, MS-63 and higher for coins that are graded as mint state, MS-63 or higher, the value could rise to $5 or more. Coins with higher grades, such as MS-65, could sell for $10 to $20. Rare errors, like double die. If you happen to find a rare error coin, such as the double die obverse, these can sell for anywhere from $100 to several $1,000s at auctions, depending on the severity and rarity of the error. To give you an idea of the potential value, let's look at a few real examples from coin auctions. A 1964 Jefferson nickel, graded MS-67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, sold for $200. In a recent auction. A 1964 double die Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition fetched a remarkable $2,500 at a major coin auction last year. Even a well-preserved 1964 Denver Mint version, graded MS-65, has been known to sell for around $40 to $50 at coin shows. The 1964 Jefferson nickel may seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but with its unique design, historical significance, and the potential for rare errors, it's a piece of American numismatic history that could be worth a lot more than its face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, finding one of these coins in your change or your collection could lead to a small fortune. So, take a moment to dig through your coin jar, check your change, and you might just have a rare gem on your hands. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos on valuable coins. You never know what treasure you might find next. Happy collecting! If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins and their value, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And remember, always check your change. You could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it.